What's the difference between Sambo and Jiu-Jitsu? Can somebody tell me? What's the difference? I mean, we used to say that it was the leg locks. Sambo guys would do leg locks and Jiu-Jitsu guys wouldn't do leg locks. Now, let me ask you this. Has a Sambo guy ever went into a world international level competition like ADCC and won? 90% of the time, it's the Jiu-Jitsu guy that wins. 99% of the time. Okay, let's make it 95. I don't want anybody to say that I'm being biased here. Modern Jiu-Jitsu, we all do leg locks. Okay, if you're not an IBJJF hardcore guy, we all do leg locks now. Okay, the Danaher Death Squad convinced everybody. Leg locks are good. Leg locks work. Okay, Paul Harris came in. The Death Squad came in. Okay, we agree. Leg locks work. I'm part of the Danaher team, so I'm telling you, we've been doing leg locks for a long time. We've gotten to a point right now that if you don't believe it, you can't deny it no more. Okay, big names have been tapped over and over again with leg locks. It's just undeniable. So, has Jiu-Jitsu made Sambo obsolete? Unless you're going to tell me Sambo was mixed with wrestling. Well, Jiu-Jitsu guys do that too. I think it just comes down to different grappling arts all boil down to one. Okay, we're all figuring out what works, and we're all basically looking more and more like one another. So grappling and Jiu-Jitsu and Sambo, they were very different, but now they're similar. You know, and it's just grappling now. You know, so whatever label you want to use. You know, even guys who do karate, they look like kickboxers who do, you know, they're hybrid kickboxers, karate guys, Muay Thai guys. And now I know Muay Thai guys now are starting to do more side kick, back kick. You know, they're also, you know, everybody's adding everyone else's tools. Why? Because at the end of the day, it all works. It all works. You just got to blend it together and make it work. So eventually, you know, the future fighters are just going to be, oh, that guy's a good striker. We're not going to be like, he's a good Muay Thai guy or a good Taekwondo guy. He's just going to be a striker. He's going to throw a side kick, crescent kick, and then he's going to low kick you like a Thai guy. It's just the evolution of things, and don't get so mixed up with labels. You know, don't get so obsessed with labels. In my opinion, I love Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Listen, I trained with one of the Gracies. I've trained with many Gracies, and I've trained with Renzo Gracie, of course, and the Gracie style, especially under Rickson's side of the family. Rickson, Hoyce, Horion, that side of the family is very, very advanced basics, as I like to say. Okay, so like I've trained with Henner, I've trained with Huron, that side of the family. The jiu-jitsu is really fascinating, and I'll tell you why. First of all, they stayed really true to the MMA type. I should say a real fight jiu-jitsu. Like, it has to work in a real fight. Now, I'm very sensitive to that because I train real fighters. So if you teach me, you know, Baron Bolo, I'll be like, dude, you know, I get it. That's sport. But if you do that in a fight, you can get crushed. Okay, so why would you want to do Baron Bolo three hours a day and then go in an MMA fight and get knocked out? That's for like sport jiu-jitsu guys. I understand why sport jiu-jitsu guys do Baron Bolo and all sorts of other stuff. That I totally understand, and it's your sport. Do it. However, in our business, you know, we're training people to defend themselves and fight professionally. So I do train competitors in sport jiu-jitsu as well. Like, one of our brown belts just won the Abu Dhabi trials, Ethan Krelliston, and you know, they do very well on the circuit. They train with John Danaher. John Danaher trains both MMA fighters and very successful jiu-jitsu guys as well. Obviously, Gary Tonin, world champions, Gordon Ryan. I mean, you can have the best of both worlds in one academy. You can. Okay, so we can find that harmony. I like to always say it's like 80% fight techniques, and then MMA that's universal, and 20% that's sport. Okay, even the universal guys, even the guys who do MMA, we have like a 20% sport element to it. Why? Because we're fighting for our grips. When we're fighting for our grips, okay, we'll use some sport stuff, but I won't do that in MMA. And because I'm only doing 20%, it's not gonna bypass my instincts. When I'm in an MMA fight, I won't use that. I won't resort to that. Okay, so the Gracies on that side of the family, they really stayed with the basic techniques, but they pushed it so far that when they do an armbar, it's like wow. You might think you understand how they did it, but they got all these nuances that make the armbar so much stronger, so much more effective, so much more sophisticated. But it's really difficult to see. It's not evident to the naked eye. They need to explain it to you. So like, if you see Rickson Gracie do an armbar and then he explains it to you, you'll be like, wow, I didn't see, when I watched you do it, I didn't see all those details. Like, I notice it now that you told me. It's kind of like a magic trick. You know, once you tell me, I see it now totally different. And I've heard it referred to as invisible jiu-jitsu. I know Braulio used to say it's invisible jiu-jitsu. And for those of you who don't know Kron Gracie, he's also a type of guy. He's a world champion. He's arguably the greatest jiu-jitsu guy of all time, Kron Gracie. And he uses the most basic techniques. Like, he'll take a guy down, do a standard guard pass, Toreando, knee on belly, mount, cross choke. And he'll do that to everybody. And it's like, that move I learned from white belt to blue belt. Like, when I went from white belt to blue belt, I learned it. And this guy's doing it over and over again in international competition. He's doing the most basic maneuvers. And I've had the privilege of training with that man. And he showed me these maneuvers. And the way he does it, I didn't know it was done that way. Like, I've been doing it totally wrong all these years. And this guy comes here and he shows me a move I've been drilling for 10 years. And he's like, look, here are these little nuances that'll make it more powerful. And it's just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing that you didn't notice these details. We didn't notice these details. All of us. How many guys have done Toreando? How many of us have done knee on belly? And we're really good and we've gotten better. And this guy comes in and he corrects us in a way that's like, wow, how could we all have overlooked these little details? We didn't see them. And it's just fascinating, you know. But again, that's just one generation passing down jiu-jitsu. When one generation passes down armbar to the next generation, and the third generation, every generation is figuring out little details and they're perfecting it and passing it down. It's just amazing. So Kron is one of those guys, you know. He's in that lineage where instead of going and acquiring too many weird techniques, instead of learning 10,000 different moves, they're going to perfect that 1,000. But they made it so perfect that there's so many nuances to just armbar, to just triangle, to just rear naked choke. There's so many nuances, so many ways to go about it, so many things that can happen. Don't waste your time with these other moves. Now, I'm not for or against either theory. Okay, I'm always adding new moves in my game. Why? Because I find it very fun to try a new move. So I'm always adding a twist. I'm always like, I'm not the type of guy who's going to try to learn 50 new moves in a month. Okay, no, it's not where I'm all about. I'm trying to perfect, armbar, triangle, omoplata, katakatami, inside senkaku, all those things. However, I like to throw in a wrinkle here and there just to keep things fun, because doing the same sequences over and over again can get a little boring. And I just find it very motivating for me personally. And I find that after a while, that little twist I add can really help me down the line, because it just changes my game. People don't know my patterns as well, and I keep everybody guessing. I've gone to train with Renzo, and Renzo's one of those guys, very open-minded. But man, his basics are unbelievable. His guillotine game, his game is so unbelievable. It's so amazing that if he teaches you omoplata, you think you know omoplata. You don't know omoplata. You don't know omoplata to one of those guys who's like a third generation, fourth generation Gracie teaches you omoplata, and then it's just a mind blow.